Welcome back to Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. We're pretty much done with the trolls for the moment, at least.
Aw. I love the troll.
We might hear from them a bit later. But for now, we are headed inside. I think this is supposed to be some kind of mining facility.
We're gonna need to start counting our sewer levels.
Well, I mean, this game is pretty short, and honestly, this is the only sewer-like area in the game, I think. This is also probably the most puzzle-heavy section of the game, in terms of, pure focus on gameplay over story. It almost feels like this area was created for investors to show them all the different cool gameplay gimmicks that you could do while controlling two characters at once.
So it's a vertical slice and an OSHA hazard.
Yes. I think when it comes to video games, the two go hand in hand. Get out of the way. There we go.
Big creepy area too, very atmospheric.
I appreciate those completely useless but very interesting and atmospheric diverging paths.
It just feels right, you know? Like, you don't have to take it, but it's there because cave and random rock structures.
We'll need something to stop that portion of the dam, but
Yeah.
this looks like it might do the trick. But of course, each brother has to grab one side of it. Now, if you have ever had to move a friend's couch up several flights of stairs into his new apartment, you will know exactly how this feels.
Oh, this is a magic angles puzzle.
Yep.
Oh, this is why I don't help people move at all. I'll admit, it's clever.
It is. This section has much more, in terms of its puzzles, it's much more in the way of timing, as you'll see later. The game has been training us for these asynchronous or asymmetrical actions where we will have to multitask in real time in order to solve some of the puzzles later in this area.
And I see there's always got to be at least one balance beam action in a game.
The balance beams just slow you down. I'm assuming it's for loading times, because there's no mini game or anything.
Gotcha. So you don't actually have to keep them balanced, they just auto-balance.
And of course, you've got one brother on each stick here, so putting these switches into place requires a bit of finagling.
Actually really clever.
Don't know what I was doing back here. I think I just temporarily got lost. I did record all of this game in one session, which is pretty rare for me. Then again, it took less than 3 hours. But
Yeah.
thankfully, I didn't have to do that much editing. I think there's like one death in this area I had to cut out.
Proving once again it doesn't have to be a long game to be a good game.
Now here's that water wheel from before. However,
Just
it's
from
moving the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get the younger brother up there. And there is a hook at the top there. And if the younger brother jumps and grabs onto that chain, then the older brother can move up on the wheel now that it's stopped.
Oh.
This particular mechanic will get significantly more complicated later in this video.
Yeah, we're not to anything earth-shattering yet.
I completely missed it, but there are trolls down there working in the mines.
Oh, that's what those were.
Yep. Well, we haven't really... I mean, we haven't had that much of a wash, because, you know, that pool that the troll power bombed us into wasn't great. Certainly was very dirty. I was a bit confused here, because I was mixing this up with a section from A Way Out, where Leo and Vincent have a competition to see how many fish they can catch, which is, it's right after they break out of prison.
Don't drink the water, kids. Fish poop in that. You know, it's nice of them to put benches in their mine.
Maybe there's like a minor variation of OSHA in this universe, because those benches seemed like they were put there by regulation.
Yeah.
Then again, there are trolls, so I don't think they'd be able to sit on those very comfortably.
They're just there for the human tour groups that come through the mine.
So now this is where it starts to get complicated, because the older brother has to ride this little chain. I am mixing it up for something later on in the video. This is just introducing us to the concept that we have to, you know, simultaneously deal with both of the brothers' action buttons at once, which is something we haven't really done yet. Yeah, there has been moving the analog sticks, but now the game is teaching us about dealing with the action buttons here, because there's an obstacle in the way here. Younger brother has to keep that crank moving in order to keep this... It's some sort of press open, while the older brother rides the ride. Maybe that's what this is. This is a very complicated theme park. Those trolls that we saw earlier were incredibly realistic Imagineer animatronics.
Curse you, Disney!
Oh,
Oh, he upset.
And we're not quite done yet, because there's another obstacle over there. So, as the younger brother, we have to go over here.
And I have to assume that in all of this, you still have to consider the distance the brothers are from each other. Like, if you fall behind, the game doesn't stop for you.
Well, if you remember, there's already a that predetermined distance that the two brothers can't get separated by, I mean, I'm wild guess, like 30 feet, maybe?
Sure. But I have to assume the chain don't stop, so if the younger brother doesn't stay caught up with the older brother...
Correct.
Yeah.
Then this game gets a very sad ending. Yeah, perhaps these two brothers had some sort of argument just before the start of the game, and this is their therapy, a way of working together again as a team to help their dad.
A bit like God of War, only, not dad of boy. Just two boys, no dad. It's weird.
Boy and larger boy.
Boy and larger boy. I gotta hand it to you. You're keeping them pretty in sync.
I was actually trying to do the opposite, because it looks really weird whenever their actions are simultaneously in sync. I was trying to make it seem a bit more natural, but in my test runs, I was never able to do it consistently. So I just decided to play it normally.
When they are in sync like that, you can really tell it's the same rigging on both brothers, just scaled. So it's like they have the exact same animations for like grabbing, jumping, climbing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So while I was mentioning before that, for example, the Nintendo Switch version added co-op. This game, just like any other game with a defined end goal, is speedrun. And one of the more common, or no, not common, but one of the more interesting speedrunning categories for this game is 2 players, 1 controller. where 2 players are physically in the room, and each of them has a different side of the analog stick. And it is surprisingly difficult, apparently.
I think those are the most fun you'll ever have with any game, especially ones with more complex control schemes. This one seems like it would lend itself to that a little too well to be, jank and funny.
So this is the Bridge of Khazad-dûm part of the theme park.
Da 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 da.
No, I do appreciate that those slender bars are at least up to code, and the size is regulated so that the younger brother could always slip through.
Yeah.
And looks like we're gonna have to steal the key off of that security guard. Now, thankfully, your movement is slowed here. You'll only get a game over if you run into those piles of bones, which will make noise.
Ah.
But, of course, with this game being what it is, you still have to keep holding onto the key with the action button while you're sneaking back. And then hold the older brother's action button if you want to pass the key between them.
You don't have to pass the key between them, you just can pass the key between them. I gotcha.
Yeah. Now, there's not really a door on this cell, despite the key being there. We have to pull this lever, which, again, too big for the younger brother. It has to be the older brother who pulls this. And keep in mind that it's pressure sensitive. That's important for later.
Hey, Maru!
Shh, yeah.
Are you ready for the first boss fight?
There's boss fights?
Oh yeah, there's not that many, but they are quite memorable. In fact, I think this would technically be considered a mini boss, because there's a boss later on that uses some of these mechanics in a more complicated way. So what we got to do here is we're luring this guard into the cell that we just freed the female troll, so we could distract him. You know, it's a classic bullfight boss. Well, this game is good. It's not perfect. Occasionally you get those kinds of collision errors, like with the security guard there.
You're gonna reach right through those bars and break your necks.
Somehow I really like that those animations are recycled from the one time that we trapped that asshole in the corner with the dog. It adds some continuity. Of course, the female troll isn't quite as nimble as our two protagonists here, so we're gonna have to move this bridge over to get her safely across.
Ha.
Now, that's actually the correct solution for later in this puzzle, because the female troll cannot make that jump. Instead, we have to move her a bit closer to the ledge.
So put her down on the opposite side and then move the bridge so we can get across.
Why would you want to put her down after all this effort we went through to rescue her? There we go. I was just thinking of the puzzle solutions out of order, or at least the steps toward those solutions. Oh, hey, it's the other troll from the end of last video.
Oh.
I was really hoping I could make this moment into the thumbnail for this video. Unfortunately, the framing isn't quite right. But it's a cute moment anyway. Uh-oh. So here's the more advanced version of that bullfight mechanic. So first of all, as the younger brother, we have to get him to charge into the locks on these chains.
Hey! Hey!
How far we've come from the days of like Bane and Batman Arkham Asylum, where you had to throw a batarang at his head and then in slow motion, hope, praying to God that you could actually dodge him in time before he kills you.
Hey!
So we had to keep that whole time. We had to keep the pit here open, and of course use both brothers
To pry them.
and he's dead.
Yeah. And then the troll helps Wally and the beaver up.
Exactly.
That's my new headcanon. This is just Wally and the beaver at the Ren Fair.
Why do you need directions? This game is extremely linear. Just follow the path in front of you.
There are no diversions. They're just making sure.
And well, that video flew by, didn't it? It's pretty much the in terms of gameplay, as I mentioned before. This is the most gameplay heavy section of the Let's Play. And next up, oh yes, I remember what's coming up next. This is what I'm gonna have to start putting content warnings at the beginning of our videos. I mean,
no.
I've included all of them in the description, but when it comes to this next part in particular, just be prepared. I'll include some more content warnings at the start of that video for those who need it.